Hi, guys. Happy Thursday. Oh my God. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. As you can tell, if you have never been here before, or if you have been in the past, you can tell that I'm a little more dressed up than usual today. So take it in, relish in it. You guys know I really like to be in my PJs or my EverBee shirt when we're talking. So I look a little different than usual. So first of all, I want to say thank everyone for actually joining in with me today. They see a lot of names in the comments already of people who are consistently with me like every single week. So I wanted to shout you guys out. Thank you so much for joining me live today. If you are joining us on the replay after this live training is over, I want to also say hello to you as well. And as always, again, if you have not been here in the past, if you have any questions while we are going through today's live training, feel free to drop them in the comments over here on the right of this video or wherever it's showing up on your computer screen. And then I actually will get to all of those questions as we are going through the training. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense. And just a little bit of housekeeping. Again, if you have not been here before, I do start all of these with a little shameless plug. If you wouldn't mind doing me a quick favor and go ahead and like this video that you are currently watching, whether you're watching the replay or you are joining me live. I would also highly recommend, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, definitely want to recommend that you do that right now. Go ahead, click that button, because over the next 3 months, we're already, oh my God, it's August 1st. I totally forgot today was August already. So for the next 3 months, August, September, and October, and also potentially in November. We are working on something right now, but definitely August, September, and October on Coffee with EverBee. We're actually going to have 3 live takeovers, one at the end of August, one at the middle of September, and one at the end of October, with 3 multi 6-figure, maybe even multi-million dollar Etsy sellers. So again, please make sure you subscribe to the channel because you will not want to miss those Coffee with EverBee live takeovers. And I will make sure to let you guys know with ample notice who it is, when it is, and how you can join us. Okay. So, with that said, today we're going to be diving into, which is probably crazy to some people that are joining this, but on August 1st, we are going to be diving into 7 unique tips that you need to start doing literally right now to gear your shop up for Q4. I'm going to go over each tip as if I'm talking to basically 2 different people, because we basically have 2 different people in our membership community. We have the beginners who have never experienced a Q4 before, and they really need help to gear up for that. We also have the people who did have a Q4 last year, and they're looking to just elevate it, make it even better, or at least replicate what they did last year. So I'm going to go ahead and go through each of the 7 steps, talking to both of you, giving you guys both different tips that you can apply to your own shop this year. And you guys are probably wondering, it's only August 1st. Literally, July just ended yesterday. Why are we already talking about October? And the reason why is, especially when it comes to creating the listings themselves, we always personally recommend that you get listings live at least 60 days prior to when you expect to sell that item, simply because we want to play the Etsy algorithm. We want to tell Etsy exactly who we are, who we're trying to target, what we're trying to sell. And then we have the opportunity to do a lot of testing and data collection between now and the time the actual period starts. Okay. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. And as always, go ahead and drop your comments or questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever in the chat for me. And I'm going to go ahead and hide those for now and bring up our training. But after every second hot tip we're going to go over today, I'm going to go ahead and peep into the comments to see if you guys have anything for me to address. All right, you guys ready? Let's do it. All right, so Q4 tips that we can start putting into action right now. Like I said, I am going to do my best to try to talk to both different types of people who might be joining me on this live training today, or if you're watching the replay. So, hot tip number 1 is I want you guys to analyze last year's Q4 sales data. This is for people, obviously, that have Q4 sales data. What we're going to do is identify which products were our best sellers during that period of time. So let's just say August through December, October through December, etc. And then you can see I have it bold, italicized. I want us to get to the bottom of why they actually performed well. Was it because of the price? Was it because of the seasonality of the product? Was it because you found something that was super unique that no one had done yet? I really want you to get to the bottom of it. Look like a shopper and a seller at your best products during that time. Okay. I also want you to look at the totality of the time together. So let's say October 1st through December 31st, were there any trends in your customer behavior? Were people gravitating towards this particular product or this particular section? Were your featured for listings purchased most, or were people actually just seeing you through search? I also want you to look at peak shopping days. You should be able to see that within your stats and then be able to also prepare, which is another tip later on soon, prepare for those potential peak shopping days to happen again. I also want you to take a look at any feedback that came in, whether it be an actual review that someone posted or someone sent you a message, whether it be good or bad feedback, because maybe good feedback tells us that we should probably do that again. We should replicate that. We should maybe even elevate what someone already loved or spotlight it in our photos, in our listing description, in our title, etc. However, if someone gave you a poor review or lower than happy feedback on something, it might be something that we can replicate again this year, but improve upon that little piece. And then also, again, notate it in the listing itself. Okay. However, on the other side, if you are not, or if you were not selling during Q4 last year, I want you to do the exact same process. However, I want you to attribute it to what are going to, like, what did well from other people in your space. Okay. So you can use EverBee research to figure out all of those questions. And we can't really see the peak sales days necessarily, but we can see the peak sales periods by simply adjusting the filter of the listing age. So right now, I literally did this search this morning and I used gardening as the niche. I don't know why. I don't even garden, but it's just the first thing that came to my head. But I used gardening as the niche today. And you'll see I did the listing age maximum of 12, which means that someone got the listing live by August 1st of 2023. So if you want to determine peak sales periods for other people, we can simply just adjust the maximum or minimum of these listing age months. You could also adjust the max and min on a shop age as well. So maybe someone just started their shop last November. All we have to do is change the listing age to be like, what is that? 9 or 10 months, and then you'll be able to see the listing age as well as the shop age at 9 months, which means that person built their shop and that particular listing at November of 2023. Hope that makes sense. I also want to basically put some things in here just to show you guys. I did go ahead and put a maximum, or excuse me, a minimum of 30 favorites. I actually learned this little trick from like an Etsy coaching customer that I had the other day. And I thought it was really, really smart, because usually what I would do is I would put the monthly sales minimum at 30, but then I never thought about, and she was like, blew my mind on this. And I was like, wow, that's something that you guys absolutely need to hear about. What if there are 30 minimum favorites on an item, but someone or all 30 of them plan to come back and purchase? So I don't want to discount those particular people and or not include them in my data, because if someone's favoriting it, that usually means they're at minimum going to receive an Etsy automatic email that's like, hey, you favorited this from Leslie. It might be time to go buy it. So I decided to put minimum favorites at 30 compared to what I would usually do minimum monthly sales at 30. And I wanted to give you guys the reason why. The last thing that I did while I was searching here is obviously I put my little niche in. And of course, you can do this so much more granularly. So like gardening gifts for grandma, or gardening tools or gardening decor, obviously you can make this a lot more like, you know, niche down, if you will. What I did, however, just so you can see it, is obviously I do have these two filters, but I also clicked the usual button that's right here. If you don't have EverBee, you won't know what I'm talking about. So I highly recommend signing up for a free trial so you can see this, or signing up for our free hobby plan. But right here, there's usually something that says see entire database. So that shows us all of the different listings on Etsy, which is why you can now see 27,355 is the total number of listings we are looking at because I clicked that button. Then I also put in these filters, okay? So even if you're brand spanking new to Etsy and you have never experienced a Q4 before, EverBee can show us what Q4 did well for other sellers in your niche. Okay. So I hope all of that makes sense. But again, please feel free, as always, to drop any questions or comments in the comments for me. Once we get done with tip number 2, I'm going to head over there. Okay. Hot tip number 2 is, again, this is for everybody. I want you to conduct new keyword research through EverBee to find the most relevant and high traffic keywords for your products that are applicable to Q4. So what I mean by this is, let's say you had something that did really well, like for Father's Day. And you know that that's not just a Father's Day centric item, but it could be something that could be gifted to dads for Christmas, dad's birthday, maybe even grandpa Christmas, depending on what it is, maybe even uncle Christmas. As long as it doesn't say dad or Father's Day, you can absolutely apply it into every other quarter, but especially Q4 being the season of gifting, right? So during this time, I want you to update your titles, tags, and descriptions with these keywords only on. I should have highlighted, I should have bold, italicized. I only want you to do this on either new listings or underperforming listings. I actually got called out on YouTube yesterday with a comment that it was really bad advice to tell people to optimize your SEO for Q4. And I completely agree. I should have told you guys that this is exactly what I am trying to say, is only on new or underperforming listings. I do not recommend, if you have a bestseller or if you even have a listing that is performing well right now or performed well last Q4, I don't recommend touching that one, simply because you would literally kickstart or re-kickstart the Etsy algorithm for any changes that you've made, which could actually harm your shop for Q4. And I never want to be responsible for that. So again, I want it to only be new, or you have actively seen underperforming listings. We can make changes to those. However, if you also find, like, let's say you did something last Q4 and you haven't really updated it in a while, but it's still been selling all year long, even in a small quantity, but you think Q4 will hit again. What I recommend, if you find some keywords that you want to test, is, okay, let's just duplicate that listing exactly. So literally click duplicate, click copy in your listings dashboard. Do not change anything except for the SEO, whether it be in your title or your tags or both. However, if you do two different things of changes, you will not be able to guarantee exactly which one caused the incline or the decline in your statistics. So I hope that makes sense, but I only recommend doing this for new and underperforming listings, or if you do find a collection of keywords that you want to get into and you want to test on a performing listing, I recommend duplicating it, keeping the old one as is, letting it still do its thing, but then starting the new one, making the SEO keyword changes, and then basically just testing them against each other. Okay. So here's a quick example also. Is I also want you to think about updating any seasonal keywords that you could find right now that maybe either didn't exist last year or you didn't have EverBee to be able to dissect these and find them on your own. I want you to think about ones that have low competition and focus in on basically what your ideal buyer will be typing in Q4 rather than what you think they will be typing in. So I gave you a quick example here. Grandma gift, or even gift for grandma. You'll see over here has over, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, has over 6,500 in search. So you're probably like, wow, that's really good. We should do that. But it also has over 606,000 people listings competing for that space. However, if we do gardening gift for grandma, there's still over 2,000 people that are actively looking at this and only 15,000 people who are competing for that space. So that's what I mean when we're talking about seasonal keywords. It doesn't have to be Christmas or Christmas gift. It just has to make sense for what someone might actually be looking up during Q4 to gift to. Let's just say, like, my mom and stepdad, for example, are really into like Star Wars, Harry Potter. She actually literally got a Harry Potter cake yesterday because it's his birthday, I guess, this weekend, a fictional character's birthday. She bought a cake for. I thought it was adorable. So, knowing that, I would legitimately, as a buyer, type in Harry Potter gifts for mom. Am I recommending that you guys ever make Harry Potter stuff on Etsy? Absolutely freaking not. However, there are some out there, and I would still actively put that in as a shopper to really get down and dirty on what I already know my mom is going to want comparatively to mom gifts. And then I got to go through this just smorgasbord list of everything that everybody else's mom likes to get to my mom. I hope that makes sense. And that's kind of what I wanted to encourage you guys to do for your own shop. All right. With that said, we have finished hot tip number 1 and 2. So let me head over to the comments really quick and address any questions for you in real time. All right, let's see. We have what days are best for flash sales to jumpstart sales? That is a really good question. And to be honest, the best part about flash sales is they can technically be launched whenever and they can be as long as you want them to. But I usually like to stay under the 48 to 72 hour like time limit. The reason why is because Etsy starts showing you a countdown on the listing itself. I believe at that like 35 to 48 hour mark. So that's what I personally recommend. And I would start, we're actually going to talk a little bit about it in a second on one of my other hot tips, but I would personally start letting people know in September when you plan on launching these things, like your inner circle, maybe past buyers, maybe people who are on your social media, maybe people who are on your email list. I would want to start letting them know and gearing them up and getting them like anticipatory and excited for when you plan on launching them. So it's not like there is a particular time to do it necessarily, but we're going to talk about in a second how to plan those out right now to get ready for them and get your people excited for them. Okay. It looks like there is no other questions for right now. So let's go ahead and get right back into it. Hot tip number 3. We've talked about something of this nature a couple times now, but I really want to get a little bit deeper into what I mean by it, okay, and how it can actually relate to Q4. So I want you to think about creating Q4 specific product bundles. So what this could be is, let's say, I'm trying to just make this up as I go. I should have written this down, but let's say wrapping paper and stockings. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something literally on the spot. But let's say you want to do something that matches your niche in a bundle like that. Or actually, let's just call it a bundle of 4 matching personalized stockings. That is still a bundle, or it is still a group listing. In this particular case, that wouldn't be complementary items necessarily. It's going to be the exact same product times 4. But what I did last year that actually did really well. So I want to give it to you guys because I'm not doing it this year simply because I'm focused on helping you guys more so than trying to get a bunch of Etsy sales myself. However, what I did last year that did do really well is not only did I give 4 different, I think it was actually 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I gave them those kind of variations to choose from depending on how big their family was. But not only did I give them the option of quantity and personalization of their name, but I also gave them the option of different designs that they could do on each stocking. So let's just say, for example, dad chose footballs, like little footballs. Let's say he chose that as his design. And then mom chose roses. And then the kid who's like in volleyball chose volleyball. And then they actually had a dog one that had a picture of the dog's face, whatever. So that also shows you a complementary type of item rather than just a copying and pasting of 4 of the same item. I hope that makes sense. We also talked a second ago about like limited time offers, flash sales, etc. I also want to highlight for something like this, or anything for that matter, but something like this, you could actually create urgency for these bundles and encourage people to purchase more than one thing at one time by using limited stock quantities as well. So that's a very simple thing to do. When you're in your individual Etsy listing and you're creating this from scratch, literally all you have to do is select the quantity at whatever you want it to be. So let's say people could buy 5 of them each, or let's say you only have 25 in total, whatever, you can actually put that in there and Etsy again will show low stock, order now, right there on it for you. So it's kind of a little marketing tactic that Etsy actually helps us out with. I also want to make sure when we're talking about bundles or group listings or sets or whatever, that we are also attractively packaging it in multiple locations. So what I mean by this is in your listing photos, you should show both items, all 4 items, all 4 items personalized, examples, whatever, in the thumbnail photo. I also want you in the title to use words like bundle, set, group, custom, personalized, family, kit, whatever. So things that are applicable to what you are going to be offering. However, it makes sense also for what they are expecting to receive. Because if you just do something that says personalized stocking with footballs, comma, volleyball, comma, roses, whatever, then it might look like only one stocking for purchase. But if we do stuff like set of 4, bundle or whatever, like set of 4 stockings for family members or something like that, it will actively tell someone and encourage them, you're going to want to buy 4 of these, or that's the only option, because you have to purchase more than one, which already pre-qualifies someone as an end buyer that wants to purchase more than one item at one time. Okay. Another quick tip here. I'm basically giving you like 6 tips in one tip, but another quick tip here is I also would recommend, if you decide to go this direction, to create a section on Etsy, because that actually is a really good location where someone could like be perusing through your shop, look to the left, see that you have like women's clothes, men's clothes, blah, 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 blah. But then I would also put like gifts or sets or kits or bundles or whatever you're going to move forward with as a section. And I would actually actively move that section if you're able to. I honestly, it might be in alphabetical order. I don't remember. I'm not looking at it right now. But if you do have the ability to move it, I would pop it at the top and make sure that people know that this is a section and the location where all of those can be found. I also recommend, if again, you're open to it, adding that you offer these bundles, these kits, these complementary items within your shop announcement, as well as, this is going to be a little bit hard to explain, so I'm going to try to go slow, as well as in the listing description for one item that could potentially be turned into a bundle if they wanted. What I mean by this is, let's say you have a listing where someone can purchase one stocking. So you can personalize this stocking and you can put your name on it and that's it. And you buy the one, right? And of course, someone could purchase a quantity of 4 in that listing. However, what you're going to want to do is, if you already have that listing live, or if you don't and you want to create 2 listings, also fine. You're going to put in the listing description, need more than one for your family members, ? Click the link below, and then the link will redirect them to the bundle listing. Okay. Hope that makes sense. I was trying to make that as clear and concise as possible. Let's move on to tip 4 now. I do see a couple comments. I will get to them, I promise, but let's go ahead and move on to tip 4 really quickly. Someone asked a second ago, is kind of like, should I do a flash sale now? When should I do it? So this is kind of addressing that one, as well as what we already said. I want you to implement an early bird discount campaign for all of your listings, certain sections, certain people, does not matter to me. However, if you have the ability to launch this early discount campaign, it can actually encourage those early on purchases. So where people aren't waiting until the last minute, let's say until December 10th to buy something from you. The reason why I encourage this, trying to be heavy in October and November sales, even if it is a Christmas gift, is simply, first of all, to help them out, to give them the best rate, to help them out with stock as well, because there might be a stock issue. I know back in 2020 there was a huge stock issue, especially if you're working with a print on demand partner. So it could help them with stock and guaranteeing that they're going to get it. Thirdly, it could also help with shipping for them. So they do not have to worry about the fact that they might not receive this item in time because they bought it in October or they bought it in November. So I recommend, if you have the ability to start getting this information out, that like if you purchase from Leslie LLC, you will get X number of dollars off, a percentage off, free shipping guarantee, whatever you want to offer if they purchase between this time, okay? Whatever that is. Then what I want you to do is make sure that you are promoting this in multiple locations. I want you to tease this out and remind people when it actually goes live for your email list. I want to pop it in your banner when the sale actually goes live. You can pop it in your shop announcement on social media, etc. And then of course, you can see here, use countdown timers as to how much longer that sale is in effect. Okay. I hope that makes sense and answers also the flash sale question from the comments earlier. Now we have finished tip number 4. So I'm going to head over to the comments and address your questions. Someone said slow down. All right, on it. If you have a design style that is similar to Harry Potter, is it against Etsy Potter? Good Lord. Is it against Etsy policy to use Harry Potter terms as keywords? 100% yes. If you guys listen to nothing else, for the love of God, do not do that. Harry Potter is very much so trademarked and copyrighted and could get your shop shut down. So highly recommend, if you were thinking about doing it, don't. And or if you have it in your shop anywhere, get rid of it and replace it with something else. Because I also don't want you to even have a design style that is related to Harry Potter in any way. However, if it's like whimsical and wizardry, I don't even know if that's a word. If it's like wizardry-esque, but it has nothing to do with Harry Potter, that's fine. That's approved, but don't use Harry Potter's name. Highly recommend. When you are making multiple listings that are similar, should you use the same title and tags? Great question. For example, if you are making 10 Christmas nurse shirts. So, I actually, this might not be something that everyone agrees with. So if you haven't been here before, Michael, I always like to say that I'm just devil's advocate here, providing my own opinion. This is not Bible. This is not in Etsy's rule book. It's just a thought or an opinion. I personally don't like to compete with myself and my other listings by copying and reusing titles and tags. However, I say that with the small caveat of, if you go into your shop analytics, or excuse me, your search analytics, which is a location in your Etsy shop manager dashboard where they're literally telling you like, hey, this title, this keyword, this whatever long tail key phrase brought in this many people and this many orders. If you're starting to see stuff like that, it might be beneficial to continue using that in other ones and other listings that are related to the original listing. However, what I don't want you to do ever is copy all 13 of those tags in one listing and apply it to a second listing, simply because, again, those two listings of your own are competing against each other now. They are competing for space in search. What I recommend doing instead is, let's just say you have, what'd you say? You had 10 Christmas shirts. I'm going to do some math real fast. 10 times 13. So you're going to have basically a list of, let's say, 100 keywords or long tail key phrases that you want to distribute amongst these 10 listings for the Christmas nurse shirts. However, 10 listings times 13 full tags is 130, right? So what I would recommend is a 30 list of keywords that are performing well for you already, or things that you believe will perform well that you can distribute evenly across these that will be duplicated or replicated or used twice, used 4 times, whatever keywords. I hope that makes sense and answered your question. All right, let's see here. If I moved a best-selling item to a section to better organize things, will that affect my SEO? Nope, not at all. Sections are literally just locations where you can spotlight certain things. The same way as if you were to feature a listing and then unfeature a listing. It's not necessarily going to disrupt how well that listing does, except for the fact that like if it's featured, technically someone could see it first and maybe be more inclined to look through it and buy it. But it's the exact same concept, that it's just a categorization location. It is not anything that is going to negatively impact you. However, if you are nervous about that, what I would recommend doing is just making sure that it is added to both. Okay. For the bundle listing idea, how do you do this? If, say, you have a greeting card, a hat, a Christmas ornament, so you have a blend of your own stock, but you also have 2 different pods. I'm not sure what pods is, so I apologize. I'm assuming that means like print on demanders, potentially like partners. So we're actually going to be launching, because I've gotten so many questions about this and I want to make sure I can give you guys a breakdown. We're actually going to be doing a video on how to do group and bundle listings. I think like in 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks or so. So I'll go ahead and put a pin in that. And again, remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I want you to be able to see that when it comes. I also would recommend everybody watching this, whether replay or live, hit the bell icon as well. There's a little bell icon on this video that actually will notify you every time we go live and every time we drop a new video. So you will be able to see exactly when that group listings full tutorial video goes live in a couple weeks. All right, let's get back to it. We have 3 more to go. So hot tip number 5 is I also want you to update product photos for seasonal appeal. However, at the very bottom, you will see, I should have put this in all caps. I'm just going to reiterate this, like I said earlier, within your performing listings. So best sellers or listings that have done well over the past 12 months or did well in Q4. I do not recommend adjusting the photos on those, at least at minimum, especially not the thumbnail photo, simply because it's obviously working for you, so I do not recommend trying to fix anything that ain't broke. However, like we talked about, you can put your new seasonal-based photos on new listings, underperformers, or on duplicated listings of bestsellers to test, A/B test them against each other of which type of photo is working best for your audience, okay? With that little caveat out of the way, I want you to refresh any photos that you have on your shop with, again, that information at the bottom in check to reflect the holiday season. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this, whether you're taking your own videos, your own photos, or you are interested in purchasing seasonal mock-ups from other Etsy sellers. That is a way to kind of like start getting in the festive kind of holiday spirit. And the good news is you can just change the thumbnail. You don't got to change all 10 of them. It's really just to like attract people to see that like, oh, this is a Halloween-based mock-up. This is a fall, autumn, whatever based mock-up. This is a Christmas-based mock-up, New Year's, whatever, okay? Also, I would recommend lifestyle shots. I don't want you to just use, like, please don't use AI mock-ups. If you listen again to nothing I say, do not use AI mock-ups unless they look legitimately real, because Etsy like is requiring us, and they will shut down either the listing itself or potentially your entire shop if your mock-ups / your photos do not accurately represent and depict what the buyer will receive in their hand. Even if it's a digital download, like your mock-ups have to follow that. So that's why I said I don't recommend an AI mock-up, because that means it is not real, right? However, if you do not have the ability to take your own lifestyle shots, there are multiple creators on Etsy that you can look at who have already done that for you. Also, throughout this season, keeping in mind there's multiple seasons we're about to get into, you can also go ahead right now and get your Etsy shop banner ideas generated and curated, whether you build that in Adobe, in Canva, wherever you're building these, you can go ahead and get those lined up, created right now, and then you just have to make them go live when the time actually comes. Okay. Hot tip number 6, since we only have 2 left, I am going to go ahead and go through the remainder of the list. So number 6 and number 7, and then I will head to the comments for you guys. So hot tip number 6 is I want you to think about ways to enhance your customer service protocols during this period. I want the next 60 days to be gearing up for this automatically, because I do not want you to wait until the last minute or wait until something bad happens, aka for some reason stock is lower than you thought. Shipping and processing times are slower than you thought. Maybe you're not able to get the inventory that you planned on having. Maybe you got a bad review and you got to jump back out of that and go get a lot of good reviews to make up for it. Whatever it is, I do not want that to be something that happens November 10th and then you are kind of like running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to figure it out and fix it, okay? So that's why I like to go ahead and get ahead of the game now to prep myself for any potential. And the good news is, if none of it happens, there's no harm. Like, you literally just spent maybe an hour gearing up for it and nothing happened. But if it does happen, you are going to thank me later when you have all of it already ready. So a quick example of what I want you to do is, if you think about some standard responses for common questions, common problems you might run into, common objections that someone might have. Maybe someone has asked multiple times, what's the difference between this color and this color? And you don't want to have to worry about responding to that over and over and over again. But if you've gotten that question a lot this year already, just think about how much more you're going to get potentially when there are literally hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people that are on this app during that time. Okay. So go ahead and add them as saved replies within your Etsy right now. I also want you to make sure that you have your return and exchange policies written out in multiple places, including obviously your policies section on Etsy. It has to be filled out. If you don't know what or where that is, go to your shop manager, head to settings, and then head to policies within settings and fill that out. I also want you to put that, at least if nowhere else, in your listing descriptions of the applicable items. So let's say you are a handmade seller, but for Christmas this year or for Q4 in general, you're going to start offering some digital products as well. Let's say you offer a return or a refund or an exchange policy on your handmade items with these certain stipulations, whatever those stipulations are. But digital products do not have a return, refund, exchange policy, simply because there's nothing to exchange. Like, it's the exact same product and they've already opened the product and they already own it, and you like can't take it back from them. They can't ship it back to you, right? So I would highly recommend on the listings that are applicable, making sure you also have that policy written out and really communicated to cover yourself if you should run into any issues. With that said, if you're also able to, depending on what type of seller you are, maybe getting into extending your customer service availability, maybe hiring someone else to handle customer service inquiries for you. I have a friend in the industry who makes so much money, like tens of thousands of dollars on Etsy a month. And she gets to literally just travel the world and live her life and come up with really cool listing ideas. And someone else, a VA, owns every single customer service thing for her. So it's not something she has to worry about ever, but definitely in the heightened time of Q4. Or you could also hire someone, if you want to be the person who owns the customer service, you could also hire someone to make some listings for you, because you're going to want to get a good number of listings live between now and December. I also want you to make sure, kind of like what we talked about with saved replies. I also want you to think about any FAQs that might have happened last year, might have happened this year, or things you can go ahead and get in front of and predict might happen in Q4 of this year. Think like the end buyer, like what would make them not purchase? What unanswered questions would they have or could they have that you could go ahead and get in front of? First of all, I would more than likely recommend putting any of those answers or telling them what to do in the listing description, but you can also fill out your FAQs, which are at the bottom of everybody's Etsy shop. If you don't know where to find those, you can just do it like by editing your Etsy shop. If you scroll all the way down, it should be a little pencil that's like FAQ. So you can also put them in there as well to kind of get in front of any potential objections someone might have to purchasing your item. Okay. Last but not least, as it relates to customer service, not necessarily customer service itself, but preventing any customer service issues or any bad reviews or lots of DMs coming your way is you want to make sure that you update all of your shipping profiles. Make sure that you're checking out, if you do POD, what the POD cutoff dates are for holiday shipping and delivery times, whatever you have to do to make sure that, like, right now, over the next 60 days, you are owning all of this now to prevent something from going catastrophically in Q4. Okay. Last but not least, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I do want to go ahead and hit it again because I don't know if you guys are listening to me because I haven't seen any marketing plans being delivered by anybody. So I'm going to hit it again. Yes, Q4 is the biggest time of the year for sellers and buyers alike. Hands down, everybody knows it. However, that also means that you are actively competing with so many sellers, so many listing, and so many sellers who are putting even more listings up over the next 60 days right alongside of you. So, yes, do all you can to get as much internal traffic as possible. However, if you have the ability, which I hope you do, and you will listen to me, this is very important. If you have the ability to also curate an external marketing plan where you can actually bring people in rather than just relying on those keywords that you're finding or Etsy ads to drive everything to you, you could basically just double down or maybe even quadruple down on your chances of making Q4 the biggest one ever for your shop. Okay. Couple things I wanted to go over within this, kind of alluding to an answer that I gave to someone's question earlier that I said that I would kind of revert back to. I want you to go ahead right now or in September at the absolute latest. I want you to go ahead and plan and start to create an like comprehensive marketing calendar for yourself for Q4. I want you to look at key dates. I want you to look at holidays. I want you to think about key shopping periods. So, like Black Friday, Small Business Owner Saturday, Cyber Monday, the week before Christmas, stuff like that. And then I also want you to think about promotions or listings or products that you could get live before that time comes. So if we just wait and wait and wait, and we know in the back of our head that Black Friday is on, I don't even know what date it is. Let's just say November 28th. And we know that Cyber Monday is November 30th. Like, we know that in the back of our head. But if we're not planning to start teasing a Black Friday and Cyber Monday special on November 15th or on November 20th, then your sales might not be that great on those days. If you only think of it on the day, how are you supposed to think that everybody else who doesn't see your stuff knows that it exists? Okay. So that's what I mean by going ahead and getting this live right now for yourself internally so that you can get other things live externally way, way ahead of when the actual sale will take place. Okay. Also, something you can do to help yourself over the next 60 days is because you already have this plan and you know exactly what you want to do. Let's go ahead and create content for it. Create your social media post. Think of the ads you're going to produce. Think of the ones that you're going to spotlight. Think of how you want to arrange or rearrange your listings on your Etsy shop when the time comes. Which ones do you want to spotlight for Black Friday? Which ones do you want to spotlight the week before Halloween? And then, of course, if you have email marketing capabilities, which I hope you guys do, if you don't, EverBee offers it. Feel free to check it out. If you have that, go ahead and literally get 3 months of emails ready right now because you already built your content calendar. You already know when you're going to launch these specials or these promotions or these products. You're doing that right now. So you might as well go ahead and get those live so it's one thing off of your plate and it's automatically happening in the background while you are managing the other aspects of your business during the peak season. Okay? I hope all of that made sense, guys. I'm going to go ahead and remove the training from the back end real fast and jump right into the comments. If you opened a shop a while ago, this is a funny one, and didn't know what you were doing, and now sales are slow, should you close that shop and open a new one? No, I don't think so at all. I think when we see sales are slow or when we see views are down or visits are down, I think it's just an opportunity to do some data diving. It is an opportunity to see what is driving performance, to see what isn't driving performance, and simply make changes. There's no reason to restart an entire shop unless, I mean, if you want to, you can, but there's no real reason to because you have the ability to make adjustments within a shop that already exists and within a shop that is already working in whatever form. Even if you're not making sales, that doesn't mean that the shop itself isn't working in Etsy's eyes. And what I mean by that is a brand new shop is going to have to go through a lot of hurdles to be able to even be found in search at all. Also, if I'm not mistaken, new Etsy shops also get charged. I don't know if that's gone into effect yet, but I'm pretty sure it has. New Etsy shops get charged for even being a new Etsy shop because they are trying to vet out as many Temu potential, AI potential, passive income, PLR, whatever potential sellers and vet people better before they join the platform. So no, I do not think you have to create something new. It's just an opportunity for us to figure out what was working and what wasn't working, and then figure out what could work in the same shop. Okay. Does Etsy send out a message once a purchase comes in, or do I need to message them myself when the sale comes in? Per Etsy, my response messages to my orders is not good, but I have one set up. That's a good question. So there's an automatic reply, I think is what you're alluding to, Aaron, that you can do. But an automatic reply does not equal you replying to them. I know that doesn't make sense, but response time is you actively responding to a customer's inquiry. If you have an automatic reply set up to someone, that means you did not respond personally to their inquiry. That's why I said a second ago it'd be really smart to build out saved replies, because all you got to do is once you get that message, click the saved reply you want to send, press send. That is showing Etsy that you are actively responding to it, even though you technically responded to it months ago, but you are keeping up your response score by doing so. If I want to start a shop, would it be best to do it now or in Q4? Right now, today. Go do your research, figure out what you want to sell, figure out what keywords you want to use, figure out what products are going to be best. Go through the stuff that I went through a second ago with finding things on EverBee. If you wait until Q4, you might make sales in Q4, but you also might not make sales until Q1 simply because you started too late and there are hundreds of thousands of other people that started way before you. So highly recommend go do it literally today. Anything that you can get out of the way this weekend, go do it. I've really struggled with finding mockups that are not AI. They look good in the thumbnail and then you get them, and it's so obviously fake. Hopefully those get taken down with the new rules. Yes, I literally am like gagging at that. I hate that for you. I hate that for all of us. Hopefully they will be taken down with the new rules for Etsy's creativity standards that rolled out July 9th. However, I would just do your due diligence when you're trying to buy like a mock-up bundle or whatever you want. I personally, this is again, not Bible, not facts, just an opinion, just something I do. But I personally buy mock-ups individually. I do not purchase mock-up bundles. Simply because, like you said, I don't know what's in the mock-up bundle. I only know what they're telling me is going to be in the mock-up bundle, and they only got really 10 photos to tell me what's in it, and I can't see the rest of them. I might be crazy. It might be too much of an investment, and if you don't have the capital, I totally understand, but I personally purchase individual mock-ups that I believe will do best for my buyers. Just a thought. All right, guys. We still have about 10 minutes, technically, if you want to stay on. However, I do not have any additional questions in the comments. So I'm going to take a sip of my water. And if you guys have anything else, feel free to let me know in the comments. If not, I will give you guys 10 minutes back in your day. So take a quick sip of water. Let me know if there's anything else. And if not, I will see you next week. Honestly, I don't know how I went through that entire training without water. My throat is killing me. Cool. All right. Well, I haven't seen anyone come in, so I hope I was able to address anything that you did have. Should you be watching the replay of this video, or if you are watching live and something comes up, feel free to comment in the comments section of this video. It is going to be on our replay in the live playlist section. That is actually me responding to you, so feel free to drop anything that comes up there. Oh, someone did ask one question. I will hit it real fast. Does it matter how many listings I basically put out a day? Is a number too much? Or is it better to post every day? To be honest, it's completely up to you, but I personally like Etsy. I don't know if this is the right answer, but Etsy likes you to be consistent in their platform every day. So it's not like they don't like you to post 60 listings at one time and then like ghost Etsy for the next 30 days. That will actively hurt your customer market and experience score. So I would say if you want to make 60 listings and draft all of them in one day, and then you do 12 days, 5 listings a day, not a bad idea. But I wouldn't recommend doing a buttload at one particular time. What causes a review to show up in the suggested group versus the most recent group? That's a good question, Beth. I actually do not know what algorithm forces that to happen necessarily. But I would say when we're thinking about like long story short, try not to get too scientific. Etsy has this like technical algorithm that is based off of a shopper or a searcher's past experiences. So they might have engaged with these type of listings. Etsy is actively going to show them those type of listings. They might have liked or favorited this type of product, whatever, right? So it's all based, like their algorithm is very, very heavily based on a buyer / a searcher's past actions they've taken. So my thought, again, this is not a guarantee. It's just a thought when I'm thinking around how it could possibly work for an algorithm. My thought is the review on that product that makes the most sense for that particular buyer's past experiences, past actions, past clicks, whatever, that's what's going to show up for them as suggested. I'm 99% sure if Joe and Deborah looked at one listing and their suggested reviews would be different. It's just my opinion, not 100% sure, but that's what I believe. What niche do you personally think is best on to work for Q4? I cannot answer that for you. Go do your research. I do not know the answer. There's a billion different things you can probably get into. So just go find the ones that have lower saturation, but still are in high demand, and let me know what you find. In general, should I be tinkering? First of all, tinkering is one of my favorite words. Hilarious. Love that you use that. Should I be tinkering on my Etsy page every day? FYI, making changes, tweaks to show Etsy I'm active. Yeah, Jeff, I would recommend it. Even if it's as simple as logging in and responding to someone, like absolutely, I would recommend it. You do not have to post listings every single day, but you do need to post at least one listing a week so that they can see that you are actively doing that and actively contributing to their community. But I do recommend tinkering as much as you can, but without harming the success or the results of your current listings as many times as you can every week. Yes, sir. Okay. I think that's all of them for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday. I hope you enjoyed this. If so, again, please a reminder to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I will see you guys again next Thursday. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. See ya.